Not everything that feels spiritual is healing, and not everything that feels intuitive is true. Neptune shows us where intuition lives and where we can lose ourselves if we're not grounded. Today, we're talking about spiritual wellness, not spiritual escape. So, in this video, I'm going to be discussing how Neptune plays an important part in your overall emotional and spiritual well being. So, if you want to know more, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. So, welcome to day 22 of our 31-day Wellness and Astrology series. And today we kick off a new week where we're focusing on spiritual and emotional well-being, more so on the spiritual side. But in any event, we couldn't talk about wellness without rounding it out and finishing things off in the spiritual realm. And today we are exploring Neptune, which is the planet of intuition, spirituality, imagination, compassion, transcendence, and illusion, among other things. Neptune governs the thin veil between the seen and the unseen, between inspiration and confusion, between surrender and avoidance. This is the realm within which spiritual wellness lives. And more importantly, it's a balance between these things. Neptune has this connotation of being otherworldly, of being a lot, if I'm being honest. Neptune can take you to new heights. It could also take you to the depths of madness. Every planet has a positive and a negative side, right? And for Neptune, it allows you to dream big. It allows you to leave the realm of the physical and enter the realm of the ethereal. But it's also where things are not exactly what they seem, and where signs feel more like parables than neon signs. Things can get very confusing within the realm of Neptune. But apart from the confusion, Neptune speaks a lot to our inner world, to our subconscious, and to our intuition. When we talk about doing the inner work, Neptune plays a very integral role in that. But not just that, Neptune represents compassion, love at its highest form, and the essence of spirituality. The qualities of Neptune and Neptune itself can really help you connect with your highest self. And when we talk about spirituality, you cannot not talk about your highest self. So like I said, today we are discussing how Neptune specifically can help us strengthen our spiritual bonds, strengthen the connection between us and God and the universe, and can help us live our best lives. So here's the quiet problem. Many people turn to spirituality to feel better, or at the very least, to find a sense of purpose and meaning in their lives. But when Neptune is ungrounded, spirituality becomes a way to avoid difficult emotions, bypass boundaries, escape responsibility, disassociate instead of integrate, or stay above the body. Everything that I just described, it's definitely not enlightenment. It's energetic overwhelm without containment. Containing Neptune energy can be challenging because it's not only larger than life, but it's not of this realm, right? It's ethereal. But being able to ground Neptune energy is the best balance of energy, period. I'm sure you've heard of the universal law as above, so below. That's known as the universal law of correspondence. And being able to contain Neptune energy, contain the energy of the spiritual realm, encapsulates us being spiritual beings having a human experience. And I hope that that makes sense. So Neptune asks one essential question. Are you using spirituality to connect or to disappear? I love to think of Neptune energy as like a helium balloon. Once you let go, it will just float on endlessly, right? It's a great way to escape. It's a great way to bypass. We see this a lot in the spiritual community, especially nowadays, with people being toxically positive, brushing things off, not doing the ugly, difficult, taxing inner work. Spirituality is definitely not just love and light and rainbows and unicorns. It's facing yourself, facing your humanity in order to better understand your divinity. And when people take on Neptune energy and don't know how to contain it, don't know how to ground it, this is when you experience spiritual bypassing or escapism. And that's definitely not what we're trying to do, especially in the realm of wellness. So let's get into some examples of how Neptune shows up by element. So first we begin with the fire Neptune. So this means that you have your Neptune in a fire sign, which would be Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. For you, spirituality is very much about inspiration, vision, and belief. It's like you guys are the motivational speakers and the visionaries of society, right? But the shadow side of a fire Neptune is blind faith, spiritual idealism, or just straight up ignoring reality. Now, the best way to balance these two sort of extremes is discernment, embodiment, and follow through. That's the best way to ground that Neptune energy that for you literally is larger than life. And that's very passionate and emboldened even, right? Discernment, embodiment, and follow through will be your best friends. Next, we move on to Earth Neptune sign. So this means that you have your Neptune in either Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. So for you, spirituality is service, it's devotion, and it's ritual. Now, of all of the elements, Earth sign Neptune signs are more prone to being able to ground that Neptune energy, to ground that spiritual energy. You're probably better at it than most when it comes to containing it and using it practically, okay? Now, the shadow side of Neptune energy for you is martyrdom, overgiving, and a blurred line between work and life boundaries. You find it very difficult to draw a clear boundary when it comes to service of any kind. And so the remedy for you is practical spirituality, grounded rituals, and most importantly, setting limits. Next, we move on to Air Neptune. So this means that you have your Neptune in either Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. For you, spirituality is ideas, concepts, philosophy. Air Neptune signs sort of live in this higher consciousness. You're very prone to tapping into the higher mind, the higher levels of consciousness. Now, the shadow side to that is spiritual intellectualizing. That was a tongue twister. Spiritual intellectualizing, meaning that trying to give logic and rationality to that is not meant to be understood at times. Detachment from emotion, like seriously living in your head. And when they say head in the clouds, air sign, Neptune, that's definitely for you. It's definitely describing you. Over theorizing intuition. Rather than feeling intuition and feeling your way through intuition, you kind of overthink it, over theorize it, etc. So the remedy for you is embodiment, feeling, right? Not living in your head so much, and lived experience. And finally, we arrive at the water Neptune sign. So this means you have Neptune in either Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. So for you, spirituality is empathy, psychic sensitivity, and emotional attunement. You live within the realm of intuition. You are very much tapped into your inner world, the ethereal realm. Your psychic sensibilities may be quite heightened and intense. And for you, the shadow side to this is energetic absorption and absorbing energy that definitely doesn't belong to you, lack of boundaries, and emotional flooding. And the remedy for you is energetic hygiene. I'm going to say that again. Energetic hygiene. You have to take spiritual baths. That has to be a part of your regular wellness and even daily, sometimes routine, as well as emotional containment, sort of like emotional regulation. Remember, Neptune energy is sort of larger than life. And with Neptune in water signs, your emotions can very well be larger than life. So being able to regulate and contain those emotions is going to be your best friend. So now let's talk about what happens when Neptune overwhelms. So when Neptune runs unchecked, people may feel confused, drained, disoriented, overly porous, meaning you're just sucking in everything, disconnected from their body, spiritually open, but emotionally exhausted. This could also lead to like mental breakdowns, spiritual psychosis. Neptune is vast. It could also be somewhat dangerous, especially because I feel like Neptune bends reality. It's like a funhouse mirror. You're seeing something, but you're not seeing it as it is. You may be seeing it as you want to see it, as you would like it to be, with rose-colored glasses, with beer goggles on. And in that way, I find Neptune energy to be quite dangerous, especially when it is unchecked. Spiritual sensitivity without boundaries isn't weakness, it's depletion. And I think that at some point or another, many people encounter this while on their spiritual journey, especially if you're someone that has spiritual gifts and you use them in service to humanity. Like you're a healer, you're a psychic, right? That spiritual sensitivity, it's very hard to really describe it. Because when you are having a psychic vision, when you are really tapped into the other realm, it goes so far beyond what can be explained. And it opens you up to a lot. And it's not all bad. There are so many people who are really fear-mongering out there and really telling people, spirituality opens you up to demons and you're opening up portals that you don't understand. And please understand that that is a thing. You can open up things that you're not ready to handle, right? But by and large, it's about self-discovery. It's about communing with God on a completely different plane, in a completely different realm. And trying to harness all that, like I said before, can be really challenging, extremely challenging. And when you don't have the proper container for it, when you don't have the right vessel for it, it can run you ragged and it could really mess with your mind. So part of wellness is grounding that Neptune energy. It's containing it. It's sort of like what I'm seeing in my mind's eye right now is like, cowboys when they're wrangling cattle and they throw that lasso. It's like that. It's like wrangling cattle. I mean, I say that as though I've done that, but clearly I've never done anything nearly as close to wrangling cattle. But in any event, containment is definitely required for wellness in this realm. So now let's get into today's wellness tip, which is a short and sweet little healthy Neptune practice. Okay, so this is just something short and sweet that you can do to align with the energy of Neptune in I wanted to say a safe sort of way, not a safe sort of way, but in a way that is conducive to wellness. So, step number 1, ground before and after spiritual work, meaning that you kind of have to open things up, but once you open them up, you close them. Okay. And so, grounding can take many different forms. Some people like to, do some protection stuff. Some people like to ground physically, but most importantly, you have to ground before and after. So often what I do is, I do a short meditation or visualization of like standing on the earth barefoot and like roots growing from the bottom of my feet that anchor me into the earth. That sort of guided meditation or even visualization is very helpful in grounding. Step number 2, ask the following question. Is this intuitive or avoidant? Am I listening to my intuition, or am I merely entering the spiritual realm to avoid something in reality? Step number 3, set clear energetic boundaries. Okay. When it comes to people, when it comes to service, it's really important that you set boundaries, because Neptune energy can be like the undercurrent in the ocean. You don't see it, but once it pulls you in, it's very hard for you to get out. And that's how people end up drowning. So it's very important that you set clear energetic boundaries. Step number 4, balance spiritual practices with embodied care. This is very much conducive to as above, so below. Spiritual practices with embodied practical care. And then finally, step number 5, let spirituality support life, not replace it. At a certain point in your spiritual journey, you'll realize that you can't kind of have one without the other. You can't have spirituality without practicality or physicality, and you can't have physicality without spirituality. And when you allow Neptune energy in and you work with it, not against it, and you work with it in a way that is grounded, this is when spirit ends up supporting you. This is when you start taking inspired action, moving by intuition, and when life just seems to make more sense. This is when you go with the flow, which is kind of the point of everything. There's one thing you get from this video, is that working with Neptune allows you to go with the flow. Not let the flow carry you, right? We're not talking about blind faith or spiritual bypassing. I'm talking about harnessing the energy of spirit so that you go with the flow. And that's what makes life easier for the most part. So Neptune heals through connection with clarity, not escape. And this is important because Neptune is also the planet of fogginess. It's the planet of illusion. But by grounding it, you're actually able to get clear, if that makes any sense. And you're not just being delusional. You're not just using it as an escape mechanism. You're using spirituality to move forward with clarity. I just want to mention something briefly about spiritual maturity. True spiritual wellness doesn't remove you from your life. And I think that oftentimes we think that it's this situation of extremes, right? You're either in the world or you're out of the world, right? Spiritual wellness doesn't remove you from your practical life. To do so would be escapism. As a matter of fact, true spiritual wellness helps you be more present inside of it, inside of your life. And that's the thing, that's the rub, really. Because people think, well, if I'm spiritual, I can't be of this world. And if I'm of this world, then I'm obviously not spiritual. And that's so not true. It's a balance of your divinity and your humanity. It's also important to remember that intuition is meant to guide you. And more importantly, you can trust it once you get familiar with it. And that's something else entirely. But learning to not only listen to your intuition, but to understand it and to trust it can be a lifelong process. So if you're at a point where you don't necessarily trust your intuition or you're not necessarily comfortable being guided by your intuition yet, don't just stop. It's like a muscle. You have to keep working it out, okay? And intuition is meant to guide you, not dissolve you, not to carry you off someplace random. It's literally meant to guide you. But most important of all, when Neptune is integrated, spirituality becomes grounding instead of draining. It feeds you. It keeps you present. It doesn't drain you. It doesn't deplete you. It doesn't take you away from your life. And when you really integrate Neptune, you're truly living a balanced life, which is everything that wellness is about. All right, my loves, that's pretty much all I've got for you for today's video on Neptune and spiritual wellness. So hopefully you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going forward and that you can integrate into your wellness regimen. If you're interested in signing up for my signature natal chart experience, the blueprint, the information and link to that is in the description box below. If you have not yet taken my self-care signature quiz, what are you waiting for? It's a cute, fun little quiz that helps you understand your self-care signature a little better. The link to that is also in the description box below. All right, my loves, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.